Yo, 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 yo. What is good? What is good, everybody? JuggaliciouSMemes here, and tis the season, tis the season, tis the season to gather with the Juggalos. As you may or may not know, I am a Juggalo, and I have been since I was 9 years old. The 25th annual Gathering of the Juggalos is upon us, and now is the perfect time for me to be making a video. The reason why I'm making this video is because even though there's a lot of other YouTubers that make videos about the Gathering, that make videos about Juggalos, all of them, well, most of them, all of the ones that get seen the most are from an outsider perspective. I am here to give you an insider perspective of the Juggalo community. Before we get into everything, we gotta go over something. Who is Insane Clown Posse? ICP. Insane Clown Posse is a horrorcore rap group from Detroit who came up in the early 90s. They had a very bumpy career, but they were able to accomplish all that they did through sheer hard work, independent work. They may have been under many labels in their early days. However, these labels did not really help them at all. The labels didn't really help them at all. Even when they were under labels, they were doing all the work themselves. Nowadays, they are completely independent, and let's just go over a handful of what they have accomplished, a handful of achievements. They have over 30 studio albums, plus countless EPs, singles, and event-exclusive songs. They make so much music. Even when it doesn't feel like they're making music, they're making music. They have created every single possible piece of merchandise you could possibly think of. They have been doing 25 years of putting on their own independent music festival, the Gathering of the Juggalos. And that is no small feat. That is a massive accomplishment for anybody. And for them to do it completely independently is wild. They have a lot of history with wrestling. They have starred in WWF and WCW, as well as numerous other wrestling promotions. And they created their own wrestling promo called JCW. And this is just the introduction. We're going to get deeper into things a little bit later. But for right now, I'm going to give you two of my favorite Gathering memories. Two of my favorite memories from the Gathering of the Juggalos. My second favorite memory, number two. We're going to start with number two, then we're going to go to number one. My second favorite Gathering memory. So every year, well, almost every year, there are carnival rides at the Gathering of the Juggalos. There are carnival rides at the Gathering of the Juggalos. And there's this one ride that was there pretty consistently for a handful of years. This ride had two arms that would rotate, and on each of these arms, there was maybe 5 or 6 carts for people to sit in. And the carts would rotate. So while the arms are spinning, the carts are rotating. So you have about 10 to 12 different groups of people swinging and flipping around in different directions. Me and my homie, what we would do at night when it would get dark, we would go over to that ride and we would stand at the security barricade. And we would have so many glow sticks. Every single gathering, me and my homie, we both bring about 500 to 600 glow sticks each. So we have more than 1,000 glow sticks to play with over the course of 4 days and nights. So me and my homie, we would go over to the barricade for this ride, and every time somebody in a cart would swing by where we're standing at the fence, we would reach over and try to get glow sticks to them. We would try to hand them glow sticks, and every time somebody would swing by, we would try to hand them glow sticks. And it's such a fun game, because you have a bunch of different cards that pop up in different directions, and they approach you at different rotations. So you have to keep an eye out and adjust and try to meet people where they are going to be. It's also pretty dangerous. Because, you know, obviously you're leaning over the guardrail for a carnival ride that is swinging people at super high speeds. You gotta make sure that you don't get knocked in the face or the head or the arm, because that would not be good for you. But dude, it is so fun, and it makes everybody happy. You know, people like carnival rides as they are, but like, you can see the change in the people's entire demeanor as soon as you start getting the glow sticks to the people and they realize what's going on. Yo, people just get so happy. Everybody starts smiling. It is such a wholesome experience, and I love it so much. I love doing that. It is so fun. It's an amazing way to pass time at night. I really hope they bring back that ride, because it wasn't there last year. And I really hope they bring that back, because it's just such a good time. And now my number one favorite memory from the Gathering of the Juggalos. Bum rushing main stage during ICP's concerts. At the end, during the Fago Armageddon, it is gathering culture. It is Juggalo custom to bum rush the stage during the ending song of ICP's concerts. You climb through the crowd, you dig and claw your way through, you push and you shove and you weave. Every single time you get stuck and your feet are hovering above the ground, because everybody is so tightly packed together trying to get up through the crowd to get to the stage, that you are so tightly packed that you physically are unable to fall. Eventually though, you get to the barricade and you hop it, and you got people behind you pushing you over, helping you get over. The security guards are helping you get over. So even though it's chaotic, it's safe. And after you jump that barricade and you look up, you see the edge of the stage is perfectly level with your eyes. So you just run for it. You just hop up on that stage, you hoist yourself up there. You got people pulling you up, you crawl, you get up, you stand up, you turn around, you face the entire crowd. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people dressed in clown makeup, screaming and shouting and having the best time of their life. And then you go through the crowd, on the stage, and you try to find where the Fago is. Because ICB sprays the crowd with a soda called Fago. And honestly, that's one of the best parts of the entire experience. Fago is one of the best parts of the entire experience, is the Fago showers. Oh yeah. So when you're on this stage, after getting through the crowd, you go running around trying to find where the Fago is. You see people bringing entire boxes full of 2 liters onto the stage and just dropping them off there. So you run over, you grab a bottle, you crack the top off of that, take your finger, cork it so that it can get pressurized, and you just start spraying Fago everywhere, homie. You just start spraying Fago everywhere. Then once it runs out of the fizz, once it stops spraying, you just chuck that bottle as far as you can into the crowd. And mind you, on this stage, there's probably like 100, 200 people. You got the rest of the crowd still trying to file in, get up on the stage with you. You have Fago flying in every single direction, in front of you, behind you, forward, backwards, from the sides to the sides. You got people in the crowd throwing things onto the stage. You got people on the stage throwing things into the crowd. It is insanity, and it is beautiful. It is one of the It is one of the greatest experiences that I have ever had. The first time I was able to get up onto that stage during the bum rush at the Fago Armageddon, changed my life. That moment, that was magical. It's always magical. It's always magical when you're able to get up on that stage. No words could properly describe how electric and alive you feel in that moment. It honestly does good for me. Going to the Gathering is like therapy. It really, really helps. It helps me with so much. It helps me with so much. I love the Gathering. I love going to the Gathering. I'm constantly looking forward to the Gathering throughout my entire year. But now that we're done with the intro, let's get into the rest of things. So first, let's go over things. Who am I? My name is JuggaliciouSMemes. I got this name because back in high school, I started an Instagram page where I was making juggalo memes. And just a disclaimer, I made all of that content when I was younger and less mature, less experienced in life. So I'm not entirely sure what is still up there on that page. If you find my Instagram page, I sincerely do not condone anything that might be up there, because time is a powerful thing. Time is a powerful thing. Time is a powerful thing. I got my name by making juggalo memes, and then just stuck with me because it felt really good. And you can just shorten it to Jug, and that right there is super Juggalicious. Anyway, I became a juggalo when I was 9 years old. When I was 9, I was walking through the video game store one day, and I see this fighting game called Backyard Wrestling, Backyard Wrestling, Backyard Wrestling, Backyard Wrestling, Backyard Wrestling, Backyard Wrestling, Backyard Wrestling. And I knew I just had to have it. And while I'm playing this game, Backyard Wrestling, I'm hearing this music playing in the background. And I'm like, yo, who made the soundtrack for this game? And then I noticed the artist names would pop up in the corner of the screen, and I was like, huh, Insane Clown Posse. So then I look them up on iTunes. Completely changed my life. Completely changed my world. 9 years old, I discovered Insane Clown Posse through the wrestling game that they created. And for those who don't know, yes, they have created multiple wrestling video games. When I was 13 years old, I went to my first concert ever, and it was Insane Clown Posse, the Mighty Death Pop Tour. The Mighty Death Pop Tour. Fantastic show. But back then, I was on antidepressants, so I couldn't properly, emotionally register what was going on. It wasn't until, my third or my fourth concert that I could really appreciate everything, because if you've been on medication, you know sometimes that plays with your brain. Sometimes you just can't enjoy things. That's how it was with me. But still, I loved being there every single time. Nowadays, going to concerts is a totally different experience for me, and I be having the time of my life. I be going crazy. I be going wild. So, I had known about the Gathering of the Juggalos for a long time. And when I was still in elementary school, I asked my parents if we could go. And they said no, which honestly is respectable. That is respectable. Now, there are a lot of families that bring their children to the gathering. That is also respectable, as long as the parents are making sure that their children are in a safe environment and they can enjoy everything safely. I have seen both good parents and bad parents at the gathering. I appreciate the good parents. And there are a lot of good parents out there. Thankfully, there are a lot of good parents out there. Anyway, so I had to wait a long time before I was able to get to my first gathering. 2019 rolls around, and I go to my first Gathering of the Juggalos 2019, the 20th annual. It was down in Indiana. And this event, this week, completely changed my life. Now, I had a moment at my first gathering in 2019. I had a moment where I realized really what was going on. Now, when I went into the gathering for the first time, I was going into it with the mentality of, oh, it's a music festival. It's not just a music festival. I know that might sound corny, but if you go there, you'll actually understand. I had this one moment at one of the seminars where they talked about how all of us were getting back together year after year after year for 2 decades to be with each other, and that the music and all the events were just the background. It was just the background track, the backing music for us, for this community to get together. In that moment, I truly realized how close of a community this is. It really is the same people every single year. It is the same people coming together to hang out with each other every single year at this point for 25 years. And let me tell you something, man, when I get to the gathering, it just feels like I'm coming home. I am completely comfortable there. I have no social anxiety when I go to the gathering. It is a vital part of who I am. It really helps to clean my mind from everything that's built up over the past year. Helps me get back in touch, remember how to just be happy to be alive. Now, let's talk about some crazy experiences. Because I know if you're not a juggalo and you clicked on this video, you want to hear some crazy stuff. So, if you want to hear some crazy stuff, I'm going to tell you some crazy stuff. So, we're going to start it off with a big one. We're going to start it off with a good one. The 2019 bonfire. So, you might remember me saying my first gathering was in 2019. This was there. I was there. And I was there to be there. So, on the final night of the 2019 gathering, after Insane Clown Posse set, people had decided to start a bonfire in the very back of the crowd. Now, the main stage at this venue, it was a massive grass field. And so, there's these people who had brought their couch to the main stage, and they thought, you know what, I don't want to bring this back. I don't want to carry this all the way back to the car. So they decided to burn it. And so they started a bonfire using the couch. And you know, it starts off small. People come up, they start throwing their own shirts in it. Maybe they start throwing their camping chairs. eventually, you got so many people throwing random stuff into this fire, garbage bags and stuff, that this fire is starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. At one point, those like canopy tarps that have like the bowls in the four corners, and you can get like 7 or 8 people underneath them. Well, somebody threw one of those into the fire, and the hot air inflated the canopy like a hot air balloon, and it flew about 10 or 15 feet into the air, and then it tilted sideways and came crashing back down into the fire and burned up. It was really cool to see, but it also felt kind of spooky, seeing it fly so high up in the air above your head and then turn sideways. That was kind of spooky. Eventually, some people start throwing entire boxes full of fireworks into this bonfire, and now there's fireworks going off left and right. It's going crazy. Then eventually these people take like one of those like super heavy duty wooden park benches and they throw it into the bonfire, and because of all the stuff that was in the fire already, including a couch, because of all the stuff that's already in the fire, the bench was sticking upwards at an angle. So naturally, what happens? You get a bunch of people running through the fire on top of this bench. And this is a big fire, dude. This is like a really big fire. Like, imagine this. You're in the jungle. You got lost. And then you hear some music in the distance. You'll hear some drums and some singing. So you crawl through the bushes, hoping to get help because you're lost in the jungle. And then you get to this clearing, and you see this indigenous tribe having a festival dance, and the entire tribe is dancing around in a circle, and this massive bonfire. Yeah, it was literally that. Really wide, really tall. This was a very girthy bonfire. Girthy bonfire. It was a girthy bonfire. So anyway, you have a bunch of drunk people running through a bonfire on this bench, and eventually you've got people who are literally just standing on top of the table at the highest point of the flames, somehow not getting burned at all. I don't know how, but they're somehow not getting burned, and they're just chilling, standing on top of this table in the middle of a bonfire. And me, well, I was just off to the side eating a warm slice of fresh pepperoni pizza, and I was just watching, enjoying being alive. And you can actually see footage of that fire if you go on YouTube. A couple years later, another person tried to start a bonfire at the back of the main stage using like a trash can, but security come over and they're like, "Hey, stop it." And the guy was like, "Okay," and then he stopped it. On another note, I don't think it's the same people, but during a different gathering year, I seen a man carrying a couch on one shoulder by himself using only one hand. Bro was just walking around with a couch on his shoulder like it was nothing. Another amazing and sometimes crazy part of the 2019 gathering is the trolleys. So the venue that 2019 was at was a very, very large plot of land. Very large. You had to climb up an extremely extremely steep hill and feel like you were on the verge of death by the time you got halfway through it. Or you had to walk for roughly an hour around the entire outside of the property in order to get to the main stage on this really, really dusty trail. And this trail was super rocky, and it would reflect the sun directly back into your eyes whenever you looked down. It was not pleasant. It was not pleasant. But because of the size of the property, there were multiple trolleys that would be driving around at all times to give people rides. And these trolleys were party central. I didn't sleep for the entire week because every single night, whenever all the official events would stop, I would get up onto the trolleys and I would be partying in the back of these things. And there would be like 40, 50, 60 people just jam-packed, crammed in the back of these things. And it was crazy. Super crazy. You would yell red light, the trolley stops, and you hop on the back of it. Then everybody yells green light, and you go. You sit down, you start talking to people. It doesn't matter who they are, it doesn't matter who you are, because everybody is in the back of this trolley, and we're at the Gathering of the Juggalos, and we came to party. So you're just striking up conversation, chilling, having just such a good time the entire night. You know, people come, people go, but you always had like this core group of people who always stayed each night. And when it was just us on the trolley, because everybody else was off sleeping, that's when the fun really began, when the core group of leftovers were just rolling around at like 4 in the morning. That's when the fun really began. I remember this one morning we were going around and people, you know, it was the core group. We were playing this game. We would jump off the trolley, run over, and kick over a garbage can when we would see one. They're like one of those like metal industrial barrels that you would expect homeless people to start a fire in. And with garbage cans like that, they weren't filled at all. They were consistently taken care of. So it's not like we were polluting or anything harmful like that. We're just knocking them over, riding around. So I jump off, I run over, I kick one over, run back, and on the trolley, it's going at a certain speed, which is always just slightly faster than what you're able to run. So you really have to try to jump back onto this trolley. So we're doing that for about maybe like 10-15 minutes. And then this one guy, he takes it just one step too far. He jumps off, he picks up the barrel, he throws it into somebody else's campsite, jumps back on, and the entire mood just completely died. Everybody was like, hey, yo, why'd you do that, bro? Nah, man. We were just having fun. You, like, threw that into somebody's campsite. And, like, the worst part about that situation is that the people who had that campsite, they saw it, but they were, like, so far away that all they could do was be like, yo, the heck, dude? Why'd you do that? At another point on these trolleys, super early at one of the mornings, I saw some of the people who were part of the crew for one of the rappers. And so I called out to them and I was like, yo, come harass people with us. Come with us. Come party with us and harass people with us while we drive around. He jumps onto the trolley and now it's like me and like 4 or 5 other people maybe. We start, partying a little bit, if you know what I'm saying. And then something happens on the road that causes the trolley to like immediately stop moving. And we're just like sitting there for about like 20 minutes. And then the guys from the crew were like, alright, yeah, nothing's going on, so like we're gonna bounce. Now, when I say come harass people with us, Here's what I mean. There's a lot of camping that happens at the Gathering of the Juggalos. And a lot of people end up camping close to the main road. So whenever we were in the back of this trolley and we would see people sleeping near the road, we would scream at them as we passed by to wake them up. And it was really funny. You could have like 30, 40 people in the back of a trolley partying it up. I remember for a couple of the nights that there was this one guy. He was like this super charismatic muscle dude who was like keeping everybody hyped and excited. He would like warn us ahead of time if there was people sleeping ahead. We would drive by and he would just have 30, 40 people screaming at one dude sleeping in a lawn chair. Every single time they would punch so hard and get up and look around. And once they realize, oh, it's just a trolley, they'd be like, then just go back to sleep. It's fun. It was fun. Do you remember when I said that the trolleys always drive just a little bit faster than you can run? Well, there's this one day, I'm on the trolley, and we're driving up the hill that destroys. So we're driving up this hill in the trolley, and there's this one dude who wants to get on. He's a bit of a portly fellow, and the trolley cannot slow down because the hill is such a steep incline that it has to just keep going with everything that it's got until it gets to the top. So the trolley cannot slow down right now. This guy's trying to get onto the back of the trolley bed. He's like power walking. He takes a step, and let me tell you, you have never seen a more graceful face plant in your life. It was like something out of a cartoon. It was precision. It was mathematics and physics in nature in motion. He takes one leap. One foot is in the air. The other foot is on the ground. And right when he thinks he's about to step into the truck bed, he leaps with his back foot. But then the truck moves. Just a little bit faster than he's leaping. And so he lands on one foot and very evenly rolls down his belly, down his chest, right onto his face, right onto the ground. Imagine if you stand up a banana and then let it fall along its curve. That was how precise and fluid and graceful this faceplant was. It was such a slow fall. Everybody started laughing. Eventually the trolley got to the top, and he was able to get on, and everybody made sure he was okay. He was laughing about it. Yep, I'm gonna tell you some stories from my second and third gathering. My first gathering, I went alone. My second gathering, I brought my homie with me. Now, we did not have a vehicle back then, so we had to pack light, and we had to bring a tent. Now, my homie, he had gotten a new tent from the store, and the image on the packaging made it look like it came with a tarp. So we did not pack an extra tarp. We get there, and we start setting up because it's gonna rain. So we set up the tent, then we realize it doesn't come with a tarp. It doesn't have a tarp. There was no tarp in the box, even though there's a picture of the tent with a tarp on the box. There was no tarp within the box. So we had to start running around looking, asking people, hey, do you have an extra tarp? Hey, can I buy a tarp from you? Hey, came up and it was like, yo, if you guys need a tarp, I have a buddy who has an extra tarp, and we can do some sort of weird trading transaction so that you can get a tarp and da 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 da. So I go over to his campsite, and apparently his friend had literally just left. So I'm waiting. This dude's just not coming back. This just not coming back. Then my homie texts me and he's like, yo, I found somebody who can get us a tarp. And I'm like, yo, that's awesome. So I go back to our camp. I go back to our tent. And now we're waiting for somebody else, but they're not here. So we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting. Finally, we realize, okay, nobody is going to help us. So we have to get creative. So we start taking trash bags, Mylar space blankets, and rain ponchos, and we start using paracord to tie these things around our tent. Shingle kind of pattern. Take all of these waterproof materials and just wrap our tent in it to make a makeshift tarp. And thus was the birth of a camp trash tent. It looked super sketchy. You got this tent that's covered in garbage bags, Mylar space blankets. People were coming up to us saying, yo, are you trying to summon the aliens? What else would you do? So anyway, it did end up raining multiple times throughout that year. But let me tell you something. Camp trash tent held solid. It held solid. There was only a slight bit. There was only a slight bit of water that crept in through one of the corners. But it was like a mist, and it was directly on my face, and that felt really nice. It felt really nice. Camp trash tent survived the entire week. And this was back when we were in our outdoorsy bushcraft survivalist kind of days. So the next year we decided, hey, let's do that again. Let's intentionally not bring a tarp and do camp trash tent again for a second year. Genuinely thought that that was going to be our thing. So we did it again. And it held up very well again. But now here's the thing. That takes a lot of work. And when you are traveling across multiple states to get to a music festival, you just want to relax as much as you can. So we only did that for 2 years. And then decided, hey, let's bring actual real tarps and just stop worrying about everything. I believe it was at my third gathering. I want to say it was at the third gathering. There was this group of people called the world's most dangerous stunt show. And they were going to have a stunt where a guy on a ladder does a backflip over a car that runs into the ladder. But now the car was a piece of junk. It was literally a car pulled from a scrapyard, pieced together just barely enough to be able to function. And right before the big moment, the car decided to die. And, the stunt show, they only got that car for this one particular stunt. It wasn't actually somebody's personal vehicle. And eventually, the crowd was like, you know what? Check this out. And then they flipped the car. You got people lining up all along one side, and they're just picking the car up. And then it tumbles over, and the entire crowd just swarms it. Everybody's climbing on top of it, screaming and celebrating. I understand from an outside perspective that might sound confusing, scary, and chaotic. But I assure you, nobody was harmed. And this is just all in good fun. if that was actually somebody's proper vehicle, nothing would have happened to it. This next memory is one that I am particularly fond of. It's a memory that I love thinking about this so much. It was so good. I want to say it was my third or fourth gathering. Probably my fourth. I believe it was my fourth. Me and my homie were just relaxing on a hill. We're eating some food, just chilling, trying to pass some time. And then we see on the opposite side of main stage, there's this group of people, 2 people in wheelchairs, both wearing boxing gloves. They both have a homie who's pushing them around at high speed. And when I say high speed, I mean they were literally sprinting while pushing these wheelchairs. And the guys in the wheelchairs, every time they would get close to each other, they would smack each other in the face, throw some punches, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Now we're watching this going all over the place. And let me tell you something that is impressive, because in front of main stage at Legend Valley, it is very rocky and gravelly. It is not easy to push a wheelchair through that. So that was impressive to watch. We're just chilling, watching this scene unfold. And then eventually they come down around to where we are, and one guy steps out of his wheelchair, picks up the other wheelchair, and just topples it over, throws the other dude to the ground. The other guy stands up, and now they're standing up, throwing punches at each other. They're wrestling. Then they eventually are able to get back in the wheelchairs, and they keep going on their way, sprinting around, doing wheelchair boxing. High speed, wheelchair boxing. High speed, wheelchair boxing. It was so funny. It was so funny. So unexpected. It was just such a small moment, and then bam. High speed, wheelchair boxing. It was hilarious. And I think about that constantly. I think about that so much. But you know, even with all the crazy stuff that happens, the real magic is in the small moments. The real magic is in the small moments. It's in the moments where you're just sitting, relaxing, eating some food, taking a break for an hour, and you're just looking around, absorbing the view, just taking in the vibes, and really just being in the moment. That's where there's really just a different kind of magic. There's a different kind of feeling in the air. And those are the kinds of moments that you will never be able to see on a YouTube channel. Those are the moments that a YouTube channel would never even show on a video, because that's not exciting and it doesn't get views. It's a lot more exciting if you take videos of people doing drugs and doing crazy stuff. If you only made a video of the wholesome, beautiful moments, of the nice moments with the average normal people at the gathering, that video would get no views, because people don't want wholesome. People don't want beautiful. People want to see some crazy stuff. People want to see some crazy stuff. Which, to be fair, there is a lot of craziness that goes down at the gathering, but it is not fair when these YouTube channels don't show the other side. They only show the craziness, and they don't show the beauty and the humanity. The gathering really is an incredible place to be. I'm not the type of person who says, oh, listening to music saved my life. But let me tell you something. I went through a handful of extremely dark years, and going to the gathering was the one thing that kept me sane and alive through all of it. The gathering has provided me with more life experience than the real world. The Gathering has given me more amazing moments in my life than pretty much anything or anywhere else has. Going to the Gathering is very therapeutic to me. It's the one place where I really feel like I can just be myself. And it has something for everybody. There's something for everybody. If you want to go to the craziest party of your life, go to the Gathering. If you want to have a super chill week, go to the Gathering. If you are in recovery, well, you can go to the Gathering and get together with the people from a group known as Juggalos in Recovery. They also hand out free Narcan, which is amazing. Are you a gamer? Well, we have plenty of games at the Gathering. Are you a musician? Oh, what's that? You're a rapper. Whoa, the Juggalo Cypher. Battle rap competition. Boom, boom, boom. Those are right up your alley. Are you a costume designer? Well, costume contest. Are you a painter? Are you a fan of the visual arts? There's an art contest. Are you somebody who, for some reason, just loves to hang out in disgusting smelling porta potties all day? Go to the Gathering. Although I will say, in the last 2 years, those porta potties have been amazingly clean. The people at Legend Valley who clean those porta potties have been doing a really good job, and I want to give a shout out to them. Much love to y'all, because without you, we would not be able to poop in comfort. Using a porta potty at a music festival is a crazy experience, because you go in there, maybe it's dark because it's nighttime, and it's super dark. You can barely see anything. You can feel that the porta potty is on a slight incline, and while you're using it, you can feel the bass from the speakers shaking the porta potty. It is spooky. It is spooky. It really is. This year is going to be my 6th Gathering. This year is going to be my 6th Gathering, and I bought VIP tickets for the first time, so I am going to be able to meet Insane Clown Posse this year. It's crazy to think that all of this happened just because I was a little kid who really liked fighting games. I played video games, and that led to me being a juggalo. And the Gathering has a different kind of atmosphere, a different kind of culture. When you go to the Gathering, unlike other music festivals, you will actually see the artists and the bands just walking around, interacting with people, acting like regular human beings. I personally have met 3 people, 3 groups. The first that I met was Odd Squad Family. Odd Squad Family, Odd Squad, Odd Squad, Odd Squad, Odd Squad, Odd Squad Family. They are a hip-hop group, and if you don't know about them, look them up, show them some love. They're some good people. In 2019, I was able to see them on one of the side stages, and I was able to meet them at their merch booth. They're good people. They're good people. They're good people. Odd Squad Family. They're good people. Got their autographs, but I didn't get pictures with them because, frankly, I'm not a fan of selfies. I also ended up in one of their music videos, but I'm not gonna tell you which one. That's part of the mystery. Which music video am I in? But they're good people. I've met Kung Fu Vampire. He is good people. I met him. Got a picture with him. He's chill. He's a good dude. He was able to hook me up with some water, and I really appreciated that because I was dehydrated and my my throat was raw from screaming. I have this habit of blowing my voice out at the gathering, cause I'll sip a little and then I'll get like really excited and I'll start like doing death metal screams. And let me tell you something. When you're partying and you're screaming, that's not a good combination. That's how you blow out your voice. I have blown out my voice multiple times at the gathering. At my second gathering, the night before it officially started, in the parking lot party, people had set up turntables. And speakers. And there was a bunch of rappers performing in the parking lot. And me and my homie, we run up there. We're getting down, we're feeling it. And I ended up blowing my voice out completely. I didn't realize it at the time. I felt completely fine. But I woke up the next morning and I did not have a voice. I had to basically scream in order to get out a whisper. And I didn't sound like a human. I sounded like an alien. And my voice was like that for the entire week until I got home. Then it took another week to kind of recover from that. Yeah. And I've done that a few times. And actually, immediately after I met Kung Fu Vampire, I also met the singer and the drummer from the metal group A Killer's Confession. Gotta be honest, I kind of feel bad for this one. A Killer's Confession played on the same stage as Kung Fu Vampire, but they played right before him. And they were having, their meet and greets with fans at their merch table after their set. But I love Kung Fu Vampire, so of course I wanted to see him. After his set, I went over to Kung Fu Vampire's merch tent to get a picture with him. And then I went over to meet up with A Killer's Confession. But by the time me and my homie got to their table, they were already packing up and the group had dispersed and they were all going in various directions throughout Legend Valley. I really feel bad for this. I really kind of feel bad because this was such an awkward interaction. This was such a painfully awkward interaction. I feel bad about it, but at the same time, So, the singer was packing stuff up and loading it into a van, right? And we roll up and we're like, hey, can we get some pictures? Da-da-da-da-da. Can we get autographs? Da-da-da-da-da-da. And now my homie didn't know how to operate my phone, so he was really struggling. So that was taking a couple of minutes. And then finally he gets a good picture. And the singer thinks, okay, interaction's over. Goes back to things. He starts talking with somebody else, and we're just sort of hanging around, and we're like, hey, can my buddy get a picture too? He's like, yeah, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And we're like, yo, where's the drummer? Because, I was able to catch one of the drumsticks that they threw into the crowd, and I wanted to get it autographed. I also used to be a drummer, so I've got a passion for percussion. So I'm out to meet the drummer, do a little bit of talking, da-da-da-da-da. And at this point, the drummer was already out by the parking lot, which is basically the direct opposite side of Legend Valley as the table that we were at. So, we basically forced the drummer to walk all the way across the entire venue again just to sign a drumstick and take a selfie. Which is why I feel bad. Bro is just trying to relax. I feel bad. And I'm like, yeah, here you go. Da 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 da. And I thought we were gonna have a conversation, chop it up. Nope. He signs it, takes takes a picture, and then he immediately starts talking with like the other group mates. And we just sort of like awkwardly slink off after a couple of minutes. This was such a long interaction. This was such a long interaction with them, and I kind of feel bad. And this entire interaction, it was probably about like close to 40 minutes long. The explanation makes it sound short and snappy. It was not. This was like a 40-minute interaction, probably a little bit closer to an hour. Everything was just moving so slowly, and it was so awkward. And the reason I say that I feel bad for it is because they were packing up. They were in work mode. They had a lot of traveling that they had to do the very next day. And, you know, they were just busy. They were trying to pack up. They were trying to get out of there. And then, you know, you got me and my homie walking on up like 30 minutes after everybody else left for the meet and greets. And we're just like, hey, can you stop everything that you're doing and pay attention to us? We want to take a picture with you, but we're not like assertive enough to be straightforward with it. So we're gonna end up dragging this interaction out for a really, really, really long time. Yeah. And that's why it was so awkward. Cause like they didn't want to tell us like, hey, we're busy, go away. And we didn't want to be like, yo, can we get just one more picture with you? Just one more picture from a homie. They didn't want to tell us to go away. We didn't want to be too assertive and be like, yo, give us another picture. So we just sort of stood around and it was so awkward. But like everybody in the band and the crew is fine. While I was editing this, I realized that I kind of made the band sound bad. They're not. Me and my homie just picked a really bad time to walk up and try to be social. But hey, you know, that's life. Or something. I don't know. Are there weird people at the Gathering of the Juggalos? Do you want the short answer or the long answer? The long answer is yes. The short answer is yes. There are weird people at the Gathering of the Juggalos. I mean, like, I go there. Yes. There are weird people at the Gathering of the Juggalos because it's a very large group of people that draws from the entire world. I've met people from France, Australia, Japan, the Middle East. People come from all over the world. And there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people there. So of course there's gonna be some weirdos getting down. Of course there's gonna be some weirdos. One time, I met a guy, me and my homie, we was just chilling by our tent. In the morning, just waiting for things to get started. And this guy walks up to us, and we start talking. And he sits down to hang with us, and we start partying a little bit. And then this dude says that he does Walter White spiritually. For the sake of clean presentation, I'm not gonna say the proper names, but you get what I mean. He does Walter White spiritually. He said he uses it spiritually. And while we're hanging out, this guy starts talking to like 4 different people that weren't there. He was just talking to 4 different people who weren't there, having full-blown conversations with all of them at the same time. And then he started thinking that I was some sort of like famous live streamer. And this was back before I started doing YouTube. He was like, yo, I'm hanging out with so-and-so. They're so awesome, yo. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm not a live streamer. I've tried doing that, but I just don't have good enough internet for it. And he's like, nah, I know who you are. was like, okay, I'll keep your secret. And then he like winked at me. Bro was gone. Bro was gone. But it was absolutely terrifying. I was sitting directly next to him while he was like, talking to people that weren't there. And I was deeply scared. I was terrified. But he wasn't actually attending the gathering. It was just like a local guy who was hanging out in the parking lot. I don't know. He seemed fine when he first came up to us. He seemed fine at first. Hope he's doing okay though. Hope he's doing okay. Cause that is a very deep and intense struggle. I hope he's doing okay. There was another fellow. He stops me and my homie and he's like, yo guys, I'm trying to put in contact lenses. I need you to give me emotional support. I need you to hype me up. So, me and like a handful of other people were surrounding this dude in like a circle formation as he's trying to like put in these contact lenses. And he's struggling and we're hyping him up. Yeah. We're trying to emotional support. Hype man, you can do it. Da. And this dude is just struggling.
Here's a little bit of a warning. This story might be a little bit cringy if you're sensitive about like eye stuff. So if that's the case, skip forward.
But anyway, now that the warning's over, he's struggling to put it in. His eye is getting like super red and irritated. His eyes are like watering so profusely. Tears dripping down his face. And then like, after maybe like 6 minutes of this guy struggling, one of his homies is like, yo man, you remembered to wash your hands before doing this, right? He didn't. Eventually though, after much struggle, he was finally able to get him in. When he finally got the contacts in, it felt like a very victorious moment. Later on, we ran into him again. And this is something that's going to be really cringy, so if you're easily triggered by eye stuff, skip ahead some more. But when we ran into him again, he said that he thought he had lost the contact. He said he thought it fell out of his eye because he couldn't find it. And then he blinked and it came back. Like, no. Oh, bro. Nah, dude. I cannot do contacts. That sounds so scary. You think you lose it, you blink and it comes back. Nah, dude. Nah. Ain't no way. I wonder where he is now. I wonder. Oh. You're gonna have some strange and wild encounters if you go to the gathering, but you're also gonna have some really good and wholesome encounters. When I went to my first gathering, I experienced a lot of different emotions. I felt everything you could possibly feel, both positive and negative. And at the very end, during the final Fago Armageddon, final night, final concert, final song, I just had a moment where everything that I experienced during the week just came back. Everything just hit me at once, and I started crying because it was such a beautiful moment. And this random dude, absolute Hulk of a man, just quickly a hug and walks away, never to be seen again. There's this one guy. I was standing next to him while we were waiting for Insane Clown Posse's acoustic set. And he had a balloon attached to his hat. Every now and then, the balloon would start to float down near my face, so I started to knock it around with my head. And then he started bouncing it. And so we're sending this balloon back and forth between us. And we start just talking about life, talking about our struggles that we're facing. We were both facing some similar issues in our life at that point. And so we just had this super deep conversation about life. I don't know who he is. I don't know his name. I don't even think I remember what he looks like. All I know is that we had a really good talk that night, and I hope he's doing good. The Gathering is a place where you really can just walk up and interact with anybody and immediately form a good connection. Of course, there's going to be people that you don't like. There's going to be people you don't want to interact with. That's normal. That's, an average thing about human society. If there is a group of people anywhere, there will be somebody that you don't like, and that's fine. But at the Gathering, even the people you don't like, you can easily avoid them, and you can find people that you're chill with. It is really easy to interact with people at the Gathering, even if you're an introvert with severe social anxiety and paranoia, like me. Even if you're an introvert, you can still have a really good time at the Gathering. You can still have a really good time. There is this other dude, absolute champion, me and my homie. One year, we were trying to leave the Gathering and get back to the Columbus bus station. And we were looking up on Uber and Lyft, and we were trying to get a ride, but there were no drivers in the area because Legend Valley is kind of in the middle of nowhere-ish. Like, it's close to highways, but it's kind of far out of city limits. So there were no drivers around. We were being told by, Uber and Lyft that a ride would be like $200 something, which would have been insane. And so we're at the gas station down the street from Legend Valley, and we're complaining about it. And then this dude just rolls up. He heard us talking about it, and he was like, yo, I'll be willing to take you for just the tiniest fraction of that. So we gave him maybe $50 or something. He gave us a ride. He hooked us up with some food. He gave us some permanent markers and had us sign the roof of his van. They were really good people, really chill people, very hospitable, and they really did save us. They were amazing. They were able to drop somebody else off, and they were able to get us to the bus station in good time. There was also this wrestler. We met this wrestler guy at the train station in Toledo. He had heard us complaining. This was back when I was vaping, which, do not vape. Seriously, don't. Just stay away from it. It's not good. Do not vape. Don't. But back then, I was vaping, and both me and my homie, our vapes both died at the same time. So we're complaining, and we're trying to find a store around here that actually sells them. And so we're chilling, and this wrestler dude, he's just like, yo, you're coming to the Gathering? Alright, cool. If you wash my bags, I'm going to the store anyway. I'll hook you up. I'll give you guys a vape. And we're like, yeah. So we wash his bags. He shows back up maybe 20 minutes later, hooks us up with a vape. And we're like, yo, thank you. Thank you. And he was a super chill dude. We got to talking for a little bit. mystery box. You just don't know what you're gonna get from it. But I can guarantee you this. You're gonna have positive experiences. You're gonna have negative experiences. But the positive experiences by far outweigh the negative. No matter what bad things might happen to you, it is going to immediately be overpowered by a million even better things. It's a very physically intense experience. You're outside for 4 days, 5 days. And you know, that Ohio sunlight does not play games. That Ohio sunlight does not play around. That Ohio sunlight does not play around. It's between 80 and 92 degrees the entire time. There's usually not a lot of clouds until it rains. And you're just constantly on your feet, walking around, jumping, screaming, shouting. If you're resting and you're not at your camp, you're probably sitting on the ground somewhere. The showers there are painfully cold. They are painfully cold. You're breathing in smoke and dust and stage fog and fireworks. The crowd energy. Oh boy. The crowd energy is insane. You will not find a more intense crowd than during Insane Clown Posse's opening set on the second day of the gathering. I know the way I said that is confusing. I know, opening set on the second day. I know. So, the gathering is 4 days. Insane Clown Posse plays on the second and the fourth night. On day 2, everybody, they're in the swing of things. They're getting deep into the partying, and they still have a lot of energy. So when ICP hits the stage on night 2, the crowd gets insane. You will never find a more intense concert crowd than that. You will never find a crazier mosh pit than the Gathering of the Juggalos. I know that's a massive claim, and I know a lot of metalheads are gonna watch this. They're gonna think that they have the best mosh pits. Yeah, but guess what? When Juggalos mosh, we actually mosh. It's not just Fight Club. You don't have a bunch of assholes running around swinging their fists and elbows and throwing kicks and trying to actually hurt people. When Juggalos mosh, you have people moshing properly, intensely, but also taking care of each other. The second somebody falls, everything stops. People get picked up. Doesn't matter how intense, doesn't matter how crazy stuff's going. Somebody falls, everything stops until they get picked back up. I don't care what anybody says. The Gathering of the Juggalos has the best mosh pits in the world. Me personally, I'm not a mosh pit guy, but I enjoy being the person next to the mosh pit, keeping the form in place. I like being the person who keeps the people in the mosh pit. I don't like being in a mosh pit. That's just not who I am. It's just not me. But I love being the person directly next to it, maintaining the structure of the wall. For real though. For real. The Gathering of the Juggalos is an amazing experience. And even if you are not a juggalo, you should go just to experience it. There's something there for everybody. You can meet new people so easily. Just be open, be chill, be honest. If you go to the gathering and you're like, yo, what's up, stranger? I don't know who you are. I'm not a juggalo, but I'm curious about the culture. I want to see what you guys are about. What's good? People would actually respect that. People would actually respect that. And you know, time moves really fast. You're not going to be young forever. You're not going to be alive forever. all of the art that you love is not going to be around forever. Your favorite people will all die at some point. Go to the gathering, even if it's just once. Just go to the gathering, even if it's just once. Just go to the gathering, even if it's just once. Because it is an experience that you need to have. It goes on every year. If you can save $200, $300, you can get to the gathering. You know, the gathering isn't going to be around forever. Insane Clown Posse, they're not going to be around forever. Everybody's getting old. People die. So, while you still have time, while you still have energy, while you still have the ability and the privilege, you should go to the gathering. Because it is just an incredible time. You are going to be able to find a way to make it a good experience. Even if you're not a fan of anything that goes on there, you will still be able to find a way to make it a good experience. I love being a juggalo. I love going to the gathering. It keeps me happy. It keeps me happy. It keeps me healthy. It really helps me de-stress and just wash out all of the mental clutter. Every single day of the gathering, at 10 in the morning, there's a meditation session. Meditation ninjas what? Meditation ninjas what? And the people who go there are all super chill people. Shout out to Elmail. I don't know what I would do if I wasn't a juggalo. I don't know who I would be or where I would be if I wasn't a juggalo. This has been such a massive part of my life. This has been such a massive part of my life. And I'm so grateful to be able to experience all of it. It is genuinely a privilege and an honor to be able to live through this time and experience the juggalo culture at this moment, rather than being the 16-year-old teenager in 50 years who looks back on these years with nostalgia. I was never able to experience all of this while I was still here and fresh. I am so thankful to be able to be alive, to experience living life as a juggalo. It has done amazing things for me, and my life is so much better because of all of it. I might end up making more videos just talking about different aspects of the juggalo world. If y'all want me to, leave a comment. Is that something you want? Leave a comment. Is that something you want? Leave a comment if that is something you want. By the time you see this video, I'm probably gonna be on the road going to Legend Valley. And on Friday, there's gonna be a lo-fi video that gets released, so you can enjoy that. I'm not sure what my release schedule is gonna be like when I get back, because like I said, it's very physical. It usually takes me about a full week to fully properly recover. I can guarantee you for the first 2 days that I get back, I am not gonna be working on videos. I am not gonna be working on videos. So I'm gonna try to get a video out as soon as I can. Maybe I'll be able to schedule some things in advance. I don't know. We'll see. But just some final thoughts. What is a juggalo? A juggalo is a person who deserves the same respect and dignity that everybody else in the world deserves. Juggalos are just people who happen to listen to a certain kind of music. Juggalos are just people who happen to go to a music festival with a very tight-knit community. Juggalos come from all paths of life, and the only thing that they have in common is that they all deserve dignity and respect. So many people in the world treat each other like garbage us like garbage. But we're just people. We're just people. We might be a little bit different from you, but we're just people. And when we go to the gathering, of course, we're gonna act a little crazy because it is a party. Because it is a party for a week in the middle of nowhere. Of course, people are gonna be acting crazy. Do you go to a frat party in college to figure out the quality of the lessons that the classes provide? Or do you go to that party to let loose, unwind, get a little wild? Exactly. People, when they go to the gathering and make videos, they show a lot of crazy things. And then people say so many hateful things for no reason. There's no reason for people to be so hateful, but they still do. And it's like, yeah, of course there's craziness going on. It's a party. It's literally a party in the woods, in the middle of nowhere, that goes on for 4 days and 4 nights. But, I guess, respect is a very rare thing to find these days. I just want to help people see the human side. I want to help people see the humanity within the Juggalo family. Because there really is a lot of beauty. I'm probably gonna make more videos in the future talking about all this stuff in even deeper depths. But at the end of the day, my closing remarks: love each other. Don't be mean. Don't be rude. Stress and negativity doesn't help you, even if it feels like it does. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to other people. Even if you don't like someone, you can just be neutral. You don't have to be actively against someone just because you don't like them. You can simply just be neutral and allow you and them to live your best lives in peace. A juggalo is a person just like you and me who deserves love, who deserves kindness, sympathy, and respect, who deserves understanding. I have had so many incredible experiences in my life because I'm a juggalo. You should get to the gathering because it is an amazing time and you're gonna find something there that you enjoy. And if not, well, then you can find a way to make it something that you enjoy. Time is constantly moving. Never take it for granted. Don't just sit around. Do something with your life. Do something with your time. Experience existence to the fullest if you can. In the words of Tony Todd, I intend to enjoy the rest of the time that I have left, and I suggest you do the same. Life is precious. Enjoy every single moment. You never know when. Good luck. Good luck. Whoop whoop. Much love.